Hi everybody, thank you for tuning in for another Tuesday, Thursday Animal Adventures with Jordan. And today, Thursday, we're going to join our Arctic wolves in their exhibit here and talk to you a little bit about their anatomy, their adaptations, and more importantly on the pack mentality that we have here at Animal Adventure. Now, for those of you who are loyal watchers, you'll know on Tuesday a video was not released because we were in here and we tried to do it nice and live for you, and we're still having those signal issues. So today, I'll be honest, we're going to do a little pre-recording to make sure you have a better quality video and a better educational tool. So first things first, Arctic wolves live in the Arctic, where it is extremely cold. Now, they are a subspecies of the gray wolf, and depending on who you ask, there's a number of different gray wolf subspecies. Now, many of them, if not all of them, except for the Arctic wolf, are at a level of endangered, all right? Their conservation needs are strong because their number one predator is us, and we've been wiping them out. Unfortunately, human encroachment has been the main downfall and hunting of many of the wolf species. Now, we were inspired this week to do this talk because I was talking with my mother, who's now quite the animal enthusiast as well, who told me there's only like 45 red wolves left in the wild. Now, I'm not sure how accurate that number is yet. We have to verify that, but that's an alarming number. So here we are today in our wolf exhibit to bring some awareness and appreciation to wolves, and that's what we try to do here at Animal Adventure when we do our Arctic wolf talk each week. So now, like we said, many different subspecies of Arctic wolf or of gray wolves. Arctic wolves are actually the only ones not endangered because the humans leave them alone in that frozen tundra that they naturally inhabit, up throughout Canada, Alaska, Greenland, and so forth. Now, mind you, they were in trouble for a period of time, and in fact, in Greenland, where they actually eliminated them. And they were reintroduced and population started coming back. So their levels and numbers right now are relatively sustainable, but not only do they fight the concerns of human encroachment, but also Arctic wolves are notorious for having very small litter sizes and poor survival rates of those litters because of the harsh environment that they're in. Where they live, it can go down to negative 30 degrees for days, weeks, up to a month on end, and it's a very harsh climate. So why do they have those lower litter counts? Number one is caloric burn. It takes a lot of calories to raise a baby. So the fewer babies in a litter, the more success rate mother is going to have. Now, our wolves came to us from a scenario where mom had a lot of pups. She naturally kind of pushed away a few of them, and that's how they made their way to us. Now, before we get into our wolf story, we're going to talk a little bit more about their anatomy. Now, our Arctic wolves are just about done with their shed. Every winter, these guys look big and enormous because they have two thick layers of fur to keep them warm and insulated. Now in the spring months, summer months, as we're getting warmer, that starts to shed out. They look a little ratty at times, but that time you can really appreciate just how small they actually are. Of the gray wolves, they're one of the smaller ones. An adult Arctic wolf may only be about 80 to 120 pounds. That's it, which is comparable to your dogs at home. Many of you probably have dogs that weigh more than that. Now, don't mix that up with a lack of power because Arctic wolves are extremely strong. And we're going to talk about a lot of that power being derived from their neck muscles and that dental structure and how they rip and they tear at their carcasses and their prey items to make them, again, that strong, powerful animal that needs to be respected and relatively feared in their natural environment. However, Arctic wolves are said to be one of the more accepting of humans when they do come across them. Number one, they don't associate us that much with fear because the wild populations that are out there and sustaining right now don't have that human contact. We kind of said how humans are kind of leaving them alone now, but also they can be coaxed, and I guess you'll see a little bit of that here in a moment when we bring out our wolves. Now, let's talk specifically about our wolves. We have Odin and we have Luna. Now, Odin and Luna came to us from a facility down in Maryland where mom had about 6 or 7 babies. And naturally, she pushed a number of them aside because she could not manage to care for them all. And at that time, the facility put them on bottles, reached out to other parks and said, we have babies, we need help, who needs educational quality animals? And we said, of course we do, and it goes along with our mission here. You can go to a lot of different facilities and you can look into a wolf exhibit and say, I think I see him in the back, he's under the tree behind the log, I see his tail, nope, it's a bush, never mind. All right, now mind you, certain parts and certain purposes for exhibiting require big spaces and very reclusive wolves. Those are a lot of programs that are trying to do reintroduction, which is awesome. Here at Animal Adventure, it's about education and appreciation. So our wolves, being bottle raised, act very differently than the ones you see at other parks. When my friend Odin comes out here shortly, he'll be wagging his tail, acting like your dog at home. Mind you, he's still a wolf, and he acts that way because of our pack, which we'll talk about in a minute. So now I'm telling you, Odin and Luna came up to us when they were about 5 weeks old. Their birthday is Earth Day, ironically enough, and they are now 5 years old. Now, they came to us. We were their parents. We raised them in our home. My wife is very understanding. And we were the ones that provided safety, security, food, all the things a wolf needs. And in that time period, we bonded, and we developed our pack. I became the alpha. My beta, my number 2, you'll meet here shortly, is Odin. Then we have the rest of our keeper staff here at Animal Adventure, and on the bottom of our totem pole is Luna. All right. Now, being brother and sister, Odin was neutered when he reached pubescence or maturity to make sure we were not crossbreeding, creating these mongoloid offspring. It serves no value or purpose. We want them, again, to be an educational animal here at the park. So now, different attitudes, which you'll see here shortly. Odin, like I told you, tail wagger up here playing around, but because he's my number 2. When he sees me, you're going to see some really neat body language and acceptance and submission. And he's very comfortable and confident with me and with you. Now, his sister on the bottom of our totem pole, she's the bottom animal in our pack. Animals on the bottom of the pack are always on edge. They're always looking around because if there's ever an issue or a problem, guess who gets picked on first? Them. If one's going to be taken out, who gets taken out? Them. Exactly. So, you see a different behavior. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're not here, Odin and Luna are up here hanging out together, being brother and sister. And if we're in here, they're playing right alongside with me. For some reason, she hates children. We don't know why. She also feels that a stroller is the end of the world. All right? So strollers are a big issue. But why? We don't know. Remember, they were raised in the same environment, exposed to the same things. Perhaps we credit that towards her position on that totem pole of the pack. A little more nervous animal. Now, with Odin, we're going to bring him out shortly for you to meet him. Now, you're going to see some behavior. He's going to show you that I'm alpha, he's beta, and we're comfortable with each other. The first thing he might do is come out. He's going to cry a little bit or whine. He's going to come over to be pet. He's going to probably arch his back, and he's going to pee. All right? Now, normally I would go over and I'd say hi to Luna. She'd roll right on her back as a sign of submission, and she would pee. The only one in here not peeing is me, unless this goes wrong and I'll be climbing the fences as well, all right? But you're going to see a really unique relationship. What I can't stress to you enough is that every movement, every posture, every activity that occurs means something. Yes, they're friendly to me, not to you. They are wolves. They may act like a dog, but they are true form wolves, Arctic wolves. Now, one last thing to touch on before he comes out. Before I got into the exhibit here, you saw me empty my pockets. Wallet, cell phone, walkie-talkie, keeper keys, peppermints, you name it. Has to come out of my pants, out of my pockets, off my belt loop here, because Odin is curious. Something smells good, sounds good, he's gonna go for it. All right? If he gets a hold of something he's not supposed to have, what happens? I have to take it back. Now, what that does is creates a power struggle. That disrupts the balance of our pack. At that point in time, he either has to say, okay, it's yours, Alpha, you take it, or he's going to ruffle up his, well, not feathers, his fur, and he's going to grin and bare those teeth, and he's going to say, you know what, I'm going to stand my ground, and that creates that power struggle. We try to avoid that as best we can, and as you can see, we're all very comfortable in our positioning. Now, it would be very normal and very natural that as Odin continued to mature, probably around this 5-6 year mark, what would he want to do to me, the alpha? What would he normally do? He'd kill me. He'd take me out. He'd overthrow me. That's how nature is. It's not barbaric. It's not nasty. That's how we get diversification of bloodline and genetics. Alphas have to be moved on. That's normal. But if you remember, I told you Odin was neutered when he was hitting pubescence here, when Luna started to cycle as well. So with that loss of the testosterone, that is also kind of calming that need and that desire to be number 1, which makes him an awesome number 2. All right? So on that note, now mind you, we're filming today, so Odin might come over to say hi to Danielle here quickly, and then you might see his behavior with me. Watch for those submission signs I talked about. Lucas, if you would. Hi, buddy. Aww. There's a little pee-pee. There's a little hunching. You want a belly rub? Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go for it. Go for it. All right. Very good. Now, of course, when a dog or a wolf or anybody rolls on their back, that is a sign of submission. You know, don't get that wrong. It also means they're very comfortable, but don't let him kid you. He wants his belly rubbed, all right? You know, once we get past the initial stuff, now he's just being reassured, and he's getting that attention from his alpha to show him, you know, don't worry, buddy. You're mine. I got you. I got your back. Good boy. Can you show him those big, beautiful teeth you have? Now, while I'm playing here and I guess communicating with Odin through body language, I'm going to talk to you about some of the things you might notice on the body. The first thing is that dental structure, those teeth, very sharp, all right? Of course, they have a canine just like any other, just about any other carnivore out there. There we go. Hi, world. So you'll notice he's got those big canines. But between those two big canines is something more interesting. All right, when you get home, check your dog's teeth, because they're going to be flat in between the canines. Not a wolf. They're pointed like a bunch of little vampire teeth. Come up. Good. Now, anybody know what this is here? Dances with wolves. Good job, buddy. All right. So, on a wolf, the teeth between the canines are very pointed, very sharp, and that's for them to rip apart those carcasses, those prey animals that they consume. What kind of prey do they encounter in the wild? Quite often they eat Arctic hares and things like that. They will take on muskox and deer and other animals like that, but quite often they will go after smaller food items, expending less caloric intake, getting more gain than expenditure. Now come here, buddy. Another neat thing about them. Now there are schools of thought on this. Some people say it's true, some people say it's not, but on the back of our wolves, on their tails, are these little black dots, and they're located in different areas. Luna's is a little higher up and a little bit darker. Now, a lot of people say that in the Arctic, when they're running as a pack, your alpha's leading the way, and then the other wolves follow behind them. If they ran broadside, they'd be plowing through deep, deep snow. They're smarter than that. The first guy plows through, then the next guy plows through, the third, fourth, fifth. What they're doing is beating down a trail for them to run through, okay? Now, everything's white, including the wolves. They lock onto that black dot, that tracer, to help them keep their visual as they're following that pack to not lose sight of one another. Now, whether that's true or not, or just a really neat story, I'm not certain, but definitely a very neat thing that does make sense. Now, I'm going to jump up here with my big guy. How are you? Very good. Don't be afraid of the screaming. It's just our black bears entertaining our guests over there. Very good. Excellent. Very good. Now, another neat thing about submission and power and so forth is that if Odin tries to get up above me, for example, if he jumps up on my shoulders, if he spends too much time elevated, now he might do it here, we'll see. All right. Anytime they're above you, again, that's a power thing. That's dominant. So if he does that, that's okay to accept it. Aww. It's okay to accept it, but then we bring him back down and just re-communicate who is what in the pack. Now, one more neat story is that when they were younger, they were about 10 months old. They were going through, well, probably about 8 months old, very heavy teething phase, all right? Chewing everything. Tuesday when we did this talk, Odin went ahead and he actually ate my shoelaces, all right? I haven't untied them since because of it. They'd fall apart. Now, when they were younger, they would go for the shoelaces, all right? So we'd get him off of that, but he'd win. Then he'd go for the shoes, and we'd have to take the shoes off, throw them out of the exhibit. Then socks, then belt, then shirt. And then he was tugging on my shorts, and I said, "You don't pay enough for the show, I'm out of here." All right? But that was that phase where he was testing who's who, what's what. And the way we corrected that is we communicated to him that what is ever on me is a part of me. And when you start to test that, on me, it's shorts and a shirt. On another wolf, it's an ear, it's the scruff, it's the tail. All right? You're setting those boundaries. You're really communicating who's in charge here and what's going to be allowed and what's not. And that's why here we are 5 years in, and we still have a very good relationship with our invisible wolves. All right? So down in that direction, Odin is checking on his sister Luna. I'm going to go down there and bring him back up real quick. We're going to try to get him to the fence line one more time for you, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. Oh, there you are. Let's go. Let's go up here. Oh, good boy. Awesome. Well, what's that? Is that my cell phone going off? You hear that? Cell phone going off. Now he's in tune. Check those ears. His buddy Lucas is going to go take care of that for us. Lucas, heads up. Very good. Excellent. So now we're going to try to come back over one more time. Let's go, let's go. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Excellent. Good boy. Take a seat. Excellent. So guys, on that note, we're going to tune out for today. Join us again on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon for the next animal adventure with Jordan. What animal will we do next week? We don't know just yet. Don't be afraid to submit some comments on our Facebook page on the video that we post today. Thank you. We'll see you next week.